All right. Hello, you comic book aficionados. This is Mouse, collector of comics for 48 years and YouTuber since 15 years. So I hope if you are in the States, you're enjoying this holiday. I hope you ended up with the day off, much like I have. It is November 11th. We are coming at you at 12:12 in the PM. And if you watch this channel, about a week ago, well, no, yeah, just a couple of days ago, I ended up stopping at an antique shop while I was traveling for work. I ended up finding a bunch of Hero Illustrated magazines that were unopened, about $1.99 a piece. One was $2.99. And then when I pulled out my Hero Illustrated and some of my other comic news magazines of the past era, I discovered that I had a few that I'd bought over the years that I had not unbagged yet. So we're going to take a look at this one. Now, this one I cannot believe I did not unbag. We have Kevin O'Neill art. We have Giffen art, Crencher, a very unique style that he used in the 90s. And we also have some, I believe, Simon Bisley art underneath this card, if you will, right? Hero Illustrated was printed by Warrior Press. I think it was around from 93 to 96. They did 25, 26 issues and maybe a special here and there. And it was packed full of cool stuff, exclusive comics, previews, cards, things like that. And it's, when I looked up, why did this book go out of business? Wizard Magazine, I think maybe was just too much for it to handle. A lot of what I've seen through Hero Illustrated, they had picked up through Wizard Magazine a little bit there. They followed the trends of the 90s and, just did not have the formula to work, if you will. Plus, there was an oversaturation of comic books and probably magazines doing comic book news back then, right? Strangely enough, all of this stuff now probably has a lot more integrity than a lot of the comic book sites nowadays, I think. Basically, what I'm coming to is bias. So, call me silly. Also wanted to open up with possibly, I don't know. Sometimes I do song titles that kind of give you the vibe of today, showing you that songs of yesteryear and poetry of yesteryear in those song lyrics are just as relevant as they are today, but we'll stick on topic. So, anyway, we'll probably go ahead and cut this open and see what's going to happen. Now, before I go ahead and get to this, I want to just say I appreciate everybody that's popped in, will be popping in, watching in the future. And make sure you are subscribed. Make sure that you have given the video a thumbs up. Share it if you feel like it. Let people know there's still places out here on YouTube where we read our comics. We read our comics. The majority of what we do here is reading our comics and enjoying them and things like that, right? So the other thing I kind of want to put out is make sure you hit that bell when you subscribe, because what may happen is where I have the day off, for some reason, I have to me it's low hanging fruit, but the books are so good. I have this urge to get my short box over here off the shelf. I feel like getting my few Barry Wright's, some of my signed books of this character, pull off a few trays off the shelf and things like that. But I'm having this urge just to open up a short box with a few extras as I was trying to stumble through there, get some Bernie Wrightston signed books, and just show off Swamp Thing. I'm in a Swamp Thing mood. Maybe it's the 26-degree weather outside, and I'm trapped, and I'm needing to feel some green, some nature or something. I don't know. Maybe I just feel like having a little touching horror, if you will, a little elemental action. I don't know, right? So, with no further ado, let's go ahead and get the Kirby scissors. Since we retired the Kirby knife, let's go ahead and open this. As you can see, these are the ones that I've actually had around the house that I never got around to reading here. So we'll do this together. Let's put these to the side. And the one we're doing today is issue number 11, Free Comic Inside. I'm probably going to replace this one. I don't know what the deal is, but it feels like it's got a wave in it. It feels like something has stuck in the back and kind of warp the book a little bit. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe that can be flattened with just weight. As you can see, Jim Starlin, Peter David, and I want to assume that's Ernie Colin. A Dreadstar book, Malibu, Dreadstar, surviving through the 80s and 90s. It's amazing. From Epic Illustrated to the Epic line of comics, now with a Bravura, and there's somebody in between there. Peter David took over there for a while. So let's see what here. Plus Sega Subterranea contest. So there's a contest going on along with that free comic. So let's see what happens here. We will take our time. All right. The bag is really beat up. Have our extras come out as I narrate every little thing that gravity affects here today. Okay, let's make some room. 50th anniversary edition of the Rubik's Cube, people. And one that will never be fixed again, if you will. I'm not a Rubik's Cube genius. Okay, so feel free to leave comments as we go through here. Apparently, what we have here is a rules and regulations hero card illustrated, some kind of contest. It has a scratcher on it. We could have scratched this off. I was trying to take a look at who did this. This looks like a Jose Garcia Lopez art, but I'm not going to say it is or isn't. But anyway, there was a contest going on. Who knows, whatever that was. And then we have Praying Mantis by The Biz. So what do we have here? Manic Mandrella. So apparently, I think this was everybody in the 90s was coming out with their own creator-owned concept, comic, if you will. And I want to assume this is from Biz. This is promotional material from his Manic Mandrill book that was coming out. It'll probably be covered inside this book. Praying Mantis. Skybox International and Black Ball Comics have teamed up with the most powerful creators of comics history, Simon Bisley, Keith Giffen, Kevin O'Neill, to produce an all-new series of top quality trading cards. So amazing. I don't recall this at all, but I also was traveling and doing basic training probably when this came out, because this is from May 1994, and I was in basic training there for a good portion of AIT and training it in the Army during probably this time when this came out. So as you can see, it looks like we have a Kevin O'Neill, Keith Giffen, and Simon Bisley drawn work. And I'm right, this thing has been beat up. Yeah, I'll probably end up replacing this. I know where I can get one, the same place I got the other ones. I hate that. Looks like it's been dropped or something. But here's the exclusive comic that's in there. Let's see what this is. It's a half issue, if you will. Who's drawing this? What is this? Where's the credits? A lot of Malibu stuff going on in there. Oh man. Okay. This is a bit more coherent than a lot of the 90s stuff that came out. Yeah. It's a little bit of Gil Kane. Oh, that's wonderful. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. If you've never read Dreadstar, basically, good God, I don't know how many thousands and thousands and thousands of years it is in the future, but the Milky Way is gone. Okay. And Dreadstar is the last human floating around, if you will. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Peter David wrote this. I'm going to assume that was Peter David, Jim Starlin, Ernie Colin. That's what I thought. Yeah. So cool. Very cool. Free comics. That's always fun, right? Okay, so anyway, on the cover here, we have Marvel Comics inside the big door. Marvel Comics, a shadow, let's face it, a shadow of what they once were. In the modern times in 2025, I think it's very clear that DC Comics have, beat them up and taken their lunch money currently. Okay. Image, the next generation. So Image Comics had been around for about 2 years, and there was always already the next generation of people coming. Comics writing from Mike Barron to David to Nasinza. We can probably say Nasinza. His name wrong. We learned that name through reading back then. There was no internet to access. even though the internet, the World Wide Web was still around. So let's take a look at this cover. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, this is great. Let's take that in, guys. Mr. Monster by Gilbert. Bill Ray. This is a radical dream. God, I love this industry. Oh, I recognize this guy. Oh man, I remember. Oh, we're going way back. These are some obscure characters. It says Speed, and then oh man, Black Ball Comics is what a lot of this is from. Amazing. Okay, this is kind of cool. There you go. There's some very eclectic and obscure '90s material there, guys. Because at a point in the '90s, if we had ordered every comic, it would have been 800 books a month there for a little bit. Rune by Barry Windsor Smith, who I'm still a fan of. Dreadstar advertisement. And look at that. April of '94, Superman's Doomsday, a 3-issue prestige format book that was going to be coming out. I, for one, read the Superman Doomsday stuff as it came out. I probably still have quite a few of my original issues, and I thought it was the stupidest fight I'd ever seen. You would have thought that Superman was, green as could be and hadn't been fighting crime very long for the way that he stupidly tried to go toe to toe with that creature. All right. Okay. So we have editorials, a little hello from the editor here. Marvel, the trading cards were huge. Some Mark Bailey Venom and Spider-Man there. We're going to have to take the Fourth World New Gods there and send to the side. I like the support. Okay. Get this sized up. There we go. All right. Hey, Paolo is here. Weekday stream. We have the day off. It's Veterans Day here, Paolo. Paolo, our international man of mystery there. As you can see, we get the table of credits, table of contents, excuse me. We got the departments that they have here, the preview, Street Fighter, Black Ball Comics. A lot of this stuff really is promotional material, is what I've seen on the way back when all this stuff was coming out. And we're not going to judge because I feel like that's kind of that's what ended up happening to Wizard Magazine after we sort of came out of the 90s with them. Nerd Fact Files. We have Martial Law, one of my absolute favorite characters there. Shadowhawk, Captain Hero, Archie Comics, outliving a lot of these characters and going strong at this point in time. I think these characters were, I want to say, 50 years old at the time, maybe. No, not 50. Possibly 50 years old in that ballpark, give or take. Exclusive Heroes Contest, a complete set of DC archives. So that's probably what this card had to do with a lot of stuff. Scratch it to see if you won, or I don't know, who knows. I wonder who won these things, right? Yeet Gods, it's Black Ball Comics. So if you want to write comics, A Day at DC, Spotlight on Mort Drucker, your friend and mine in comics. Cleaning Up Image, Creative Freedom, Late Books, Controversial Firings. Image's new executive director talks frankly about the Image, what Image has accomplished, and what's to put up or shut up. Yeah. If you were there, this is what I'm trying to say. Image Comics hit hard. They needed writers on the books. That was very clear. And thanks to Rob Liefeld talking that I picked up on in certain interviews and especially his own podcast. He was talking about the meeting where Todd McFarlane's kind of set all the founders of Image down and said, you need to start putting out your books, because Mark Silvestri and some of them were hanging out at the Playboy Mansion. So, yeah. We have Paolo, brother. What's up? Still, Hero Illustrated was more interested in the stories than Wizard. Only after Hero was gone and the speculators market crashed did Wizard tried improving the quality of the reporting. Yeah, I guess that's fair enough to say. I enjoyed Wizard. That's the problem. The interviews was really what captured me with him. I can look at some of I think around the 30s. They started getting Gaiman. Alan Moore. I mean, this is and Frank Miller. I mean, I know that's low hanging fruit with creators and stuff, but they really delved into a lot of stuff there. I always felt the book was a bit more personal too, like with the humor and stuff, right? It's one of those things of sort of the Stan Lee formula of the 60s. Let's kind of make our creative teams have little nicknames and little things saying about them in, little editorial ribs and jabs here and there to make it fun. And look at this. Looks like we have a retraction from a previous issue. Oops, man. When we published our Batman Spawn article, we neglected to mention the following. Spawn and its logos are registered trademarks of Todd McFarlane Productions, 1994. We regret the omission. Okay. Quote of the month: Disco will be back in the 25th century. You just watch, Mr. Man, the mysterious somebody. They cut their name off here. All right, here's a look at May's hottest comics. Okay, we got Force Works #1. Oh no, they ended West Coast Avengers for this, folks. Galactic Guardians 1 of 4. Mike Gallagher, Kevin West, Steve Montana, spawning out of these are characters that popped up in Jim Valentino's Guardians of the Galaxy books. The Phoenix, Hollywood, who was Wonder Man, the original Cosmic Ghost Rider, if you will. So they had a mini series. So that's what I'm saying. Jim Valentino came in off his indie stuff, and I guess he slowly climbed the ladder at Marvel pretty quickly, I guess. And did some great things with Guardians of the Galaxy, starting at #1, which I thought was fantastic. And here it is. He'd been at Image for a few years, and they were still mining that work. That's fantastic. Black Cat 1 of 4. Avengers Annual #23. Oh no, that's looks like the Bob Harris years or something when everybody started wearing jackets. So I don't know. Iron Man Annual #15. That's when the definitely the syndicated cartoon show attached to the Fantastic Four was going on. Pretty good cartoon. Deathhawk Annual #3. Namor Annual #4. So yeah, we'll just kind of move on. A lot of this stuff is forgettable. Letters to the editor, and isn't this sad? There's a song by Monster Magnet. I believe it's called Melt, MELT. And there's a line in that song where he says he remembers the day the world should have cried on the day that Jack Kirby died. So here's to you, Jack. Jack Kirby died in 1994. His life enriched us. His legacy sustains us. Few gifts are as precious. Here's to you, Jack. You will be missed. So yeah, Jack Kirby, 1917, 1994. Talk about a legacy. Contest winner updates. So apparently people did win their contest. Letter pages. These were fun. Sometimes you would see the same people. I don't know if in Heroes Illustrated, but sometimes you would start seeing the same people writing month to month or something with the editors talking to them. Okay, then Mike Allred's. I cannot get over how long Mike Allred has been in the quality of his art. The consistency, if you will. He's not afraid to put an eye out and get the job done. Mad Maiden Comics, where the fists are flying and so are the monkeys. All right, always keen. He hits the ground running in April. The world's greatest comics through Dark Horse. I have these books. Okay, pretty sure he was at Tundra before this. Making his snappy comic. Very cool, man. Very cool. Play letter of the month, and now for anyway, more advertisements here. Cyberforce is back, and now it's an ongoing series brought to you by Image. Yes, Image. Now that we have hindsight of 2020, Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, you can tell they worked on the X-Men because their books were highly X-Men light, if you will. So I mean, tell me you don't see Cyclops, and tell me you don't see Psylocke, and tell me you don't see Wolverine, and tell me you just don't see, Colossus back there. But it is what it is, okay? Hero letter art. This is another thing I saw in Wizard magazine, right? So that's what I really liked about Wizard and Hero Illustrated was the creativity. They had a contest. People would do art on the envelope. I don't know if it's going to show up because they're even small on the page. But yeah, they would always pick a winner. You would do art envelope when you were still mailing letters. That's a Lobo if you guys can't see. Batman, the animated series, meets the new Batman of I just not even want to get into that stuff. Yeah. Mockingbird, Spawn, things like that, Gambit. But there'll be more art and probably more cosplay in this, guys. So yeah, fantastic. Castlevania still kicking. Oh man, what a great time. Resident Evil. I was more of a Resident Evil guy than a Castlevania, if you will. Heroes News, Liefeld at Nets. Youngblood animated going straight to video. Okay. If you saw the last issue, and if you want to get on Tubi and things, I didn't realize it was. I thought the first one I want to mention was syndicated. Turns out it was actually on CBS in the mornings, I guess, right? But the Wildcats cartoon had just sort of fizzled out. Okay. And then we had Youngblood doing his thing. There was also a Savage Dragon cartoon, if I remember right. Right. So that's just amazing. This is why I think this is peak 90s nostalgia, man. The momentum was there, and a lot of things weren't going as far as that we thought they were. Okay, Paolo's all over this. I'm glad you're here, Paolo. Almost we need to get you on some point. I also found it odd. A magazine about commercial art needed copyright notations. Law already allows copyrighted work use for reviewing. We also got a promotional car photos copyright free. I would venture to guess that in an era that this was still felt relatively new, and the reason that is almost kind of, I wouldn't say common knowledge, but easier to have a concept of, is probably because of these magazines on up through the internet and stuff over the years. A lot of people, they kind of knew what fair use was, but they didn't know the practice of it. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of the era. We know these things now because of what's happened, and they probably, uh, both sides probably learned. That's a whole other discussion I'm trying not to go down the well on, because I'm kind of like, I got a broad knowledge of it, not a deep knowledge. You know what I mean? All right. Marvel addresses concerns and questions over Mart. I don't know what that is. Comic fans and retailers were astonished when they picked up Marvel Comics in March and noticed the advertisement for Marvel Mart. Included was a catalog which readers could mail order Marvel merchandise, which were theoretically sold out. So apparently there was a scandal with Marvel selling things that were supposedly sold out. But you think that was the comic shops that had a problem with that? Yeah, a lot of stuff. We don't get all that. Big content to bring the top shelf talent. Alternative Press Expo in San Jose, and Marvel Mart. Whatever this scandal is still going on. Youngblood animated, Hero History. Some kind of contest going on. Over the Edge, the universe, the adventure of a lifetime awaits, and now you can win. Subterranea contest entry form. And here's Subterranea. So apparently this is through Sega Genesis, a video game through Sega Genesis. Like I said, when around this era, I was in basic training in AIT in the military. Apparently a lot of this stuff moved on. Batman, Spar, Warren Devil. Now here's the hero reviews, right? We get our cast of characters who are reading the characters. Everybody gets a say. And a Flash, is it worth it? These are the categories: the good, the bad, the ugly. So this is the DC Batman spawn, not the Todd McFarlane Image spawn Batman. This is the other half. This is War Devil. The good, art by Klaus Janson. Looks like typical Janson art. If you liked it before, you'll like it now. The bad, superhero meets superhero. Superhero then attacks superhero. Haven't we seen this dance before? The ugly. It took 3 guys to write this. So, yeah, you get a fact file of who did what. Doug Munch, Chuck Dixon, Alan Grant, Klaus Janson were all, well, excuse me, it ran into itself there. The artist was Klaus Janson, writer Alan Grant, Chuck Dixon, Doug Munch. I didn't like it. I don't even know if I still have it. They also reviewed Ghost Rider 2099. Battle of the Ultra Brothers, True Swamp. So, I remember 2 of those books. Secret Weapons at Valiant. I was out after Jim Shooter was out. Usagi Yojimbo at Mirage Studio number 6 had come out. Very Vicky, no memory of that one. Defiant weekly editorial meeting. I enjoyed Defiant Comics, right? Defiant Comics spawned out of Valiant Comics when Acclaim had offered them a deal and was taken over, and Leighton and a few other people kind of pushed Jim Shooter, or kind of. They pushed Jim Shooter out, and that's where the title Defiant came out. Marvel ended up suing them over a frivolous case of supposed plagiarism. They had Warriors of Plasm. DC or Marvel hurried up and made a book called Plasm. Defiant Comics won the court battle, but it depleted all their funds. Thus, we lost Defiant. So I love that I have some promotional material, because I am 99% sure that I have 99.9% of everything Defiant. And so I cannot wait to read this editorial there. Power and Glory, a Howard Chaykin book. Captain Stern. I have all these issues. This was a mini series. Captain Stern was heavy metal magazine in the 70s, early 80s, 70s, we'll say. And it made it into a little cartoon in the heavy metal movie in 1981. Some book called Scavengers. What do we have here? Oh, Dark Horse Comics advertisement for their fantastic Star Wars books. I am and always will be a little bit of a purist when it comes to Star Wars. If it didn't come from George Lucas, it didn't really happen, even though there is some great material out there that I would not steer anyone from not getting. You know what I mean? So a lot of this stuff was fun. But like I said, as a kid, Star Wars came out when I was 4. I saw it in the theater when I was probably 5, 5 or 6, who knows. So yeah. There's droids. I have a few issues of that. Yeah, good stuff. They Superboy. Look, what is this? DC Comics issue review. Superboy number 4. So we are in the early years of Tom Grummett. Who did this? Carl Kessel wrote it. Mike Parobeck, rest in peace. Tom Grummett. Good stuff, man. Takes place after Ray number 1. So those are the early years of our clone Superman. Next Men by John Byrne Comics, number 23. So about, I think it was 2 issues before this, we had the debut of Hellboy in the Next Men. I have all of those. The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, Scott Lobdell, Gene Ha. So yeah, as Connie, anyway, I'd checked way out of Marvel by this time, so I'm not going to get into that. By, when original art, it looks like, or by them. Plasm number 1, Cyberforce Ashcan. There's a number to call, whatever. Acme Novelty Library and Sin City. Look at this. Sin City. Which one is this? A Dame to Kill For, issues 1 through 3. Is reviewed in this, and this stuff is timeless. This noir Sin City book by Miller. I mean, we all know it's had 2 movies. One was much better than the other. This was just such great stuff. The Unfilmable Comic, a reaction to his experience in Hollywood due to RoboCop 3. Decided he was going to make a comic that would be unfilmable. And yet Robert Rodriguez brought him in and brought him back to Hollywood. And what do we get out of that? The Spirit movie. All right, moving on here. The Hero Insider. Now, these always cracked me up, right? Because this is a gossip column, right? This is rumors going around, and they would speak vaguely in there, if I remember right. Marvel goes direct, and retailers respond. Dark Horse buying talent. Let me see here. Bad publicity being better than no publicity. MFB will never say the word V ... T again. Not in the Hero Insider, not on radio. WCBR in Chicago, Saturdays, 11 a.m., 92.7 FM, blatant plug. Not anywhere. They have no sense of humor. So I had no idea what half this crap meant, and no one else did either. I'm sure there were people out there that did, but we never crossed paths. If I were a comic book creator, I'd be a bit unsettled if Warren Rick Veitch were dreaming about me and putting it in a comic. Then again, being the egomaniac that I am, I'm pissed off that he hasn't. What the crap. So the mystery fanboy is who wrote these, right? Street Fighter 2 in your face advertisement in the works. Things that were coming from DC Comics in 1994, part 1, the big 0 hour event. The 0 hour event was... It was a sequel to Crisis, more or less, to kind of reboot everything, a soft reboot of the DC universe with 0 issues. Because when Crisis on Infinite Earths was over, time was still a mess. And they were trying to explain away the continuity mess that was Hawkman. They addressed the fact that they had heroes from World War II around there. They did 0 issues where everything time sort of got rebooted, a la, it was Dan Jurgens that was in on this. We had just come out. They brought in this dude. We'll just say this dude because that is originally Hawk of Hawk and Dove. After they had fumbled Armageddon 2000, that annual event a couple years before this. We're through all the annuals. Wave Rider was touching heroes, seeing their future 10 years in the future to find out who the monarch was, because he used to be a hero. Originally, it was going to be Captain Adam, and then they just, it leaked, so they made it Hawk of Hawk and Dove. Well, anyway, they already had the time trapper. There was all sorts of things, but as an event goes, it was fun. We got a bunch of zero issues and some cool stuff. The biggest thing with Batman, they brought back the concept of Joe Chill, if I remember right. Other things that were in the works at Marvel and at Defiant Comics and at Dark Horse. So this is what I'm saying. You can see the print. They really got into what was going on. We would get snippets and stuff. So yeah, free advertisement for you to know what was coming if you didn't have access to a previews issue. We go on with Malibu Comics here, Image Comics, Hawkman, and then they just have a lot of the indies, a whole page of just the indies that are coming. All right, so good stuff here. On the Edge, Rick Geary goes to town. We get editorials here, probably about books that they've read here, whatever this was. Check them out. Books. Pete Craig Russell adapts and survives. So as you can see, when you would get these books, I don't know if people are used to this now. I feel like a lot of people that watch this channel, I don't have to explain this, but you actually read this stuff, or at least skimmed through it. So that you just because you spent your money and you actually enjoyed doing this, you enjoyed the hobby. This is where you got your information. It's one of the reasons I still love print, because you can still do Wikipedia to this day, which has improved over the years. But there's just some things that have not been out of these interviews from the horse's mouth that have not made it onto the internet. I feel like there's a lot of lost lore out there behind the scenes. Extreme Prejudice. Everybody was having, like I said, we're having crossover events and universal events and stuff. So what do we have here? Extreme Prejudice. Someone will live, someone will die. Looks like we have Stormwatch, Supreme, Blood Strike, Blood this, Blood that. Bunch of characters down there. Team Youngblood, Brigade, Bloodstrike, and Supreme, an epic 7-part crossover event begins in March. I know we all read that. Waiting on the trade, right, guys? Right. And then we have the Black Ball Comics. I'll tell you, man, I think this thing was a flash in the pan, right? And that goes back to the cover that we have here. Let me see what it says here. You may have already caught the first few Black Ball titles to assault the comic book rack at your local comic store. You may have also noticed that these are our darn peculiar books. On the surface, they appear to be your basic rough and gritty comic books, but when you take a closer look, you actually see something slightly different. These books are funny or irreverent and very strange. So yeah, Black Ball Comics. Anybody out there? I know I have a few, but I remember Trencher more from Image, and I know I have some Black Ball Comics elsewhere. I don't know, but I'm not. I'll read some of this, but a lot of this stuff is reactionary to Image. I'm not saying Black Ball Comics was, but the Madman, the Next Men, Sin City, and a few other books at Dark Horse, they never made an actual universe. But John Byrne and Frank Miller were like, we were going to back up our criticism of Image of how you do things. So Mike Mignola came up with a Easter Island statue. They called the brand Legend, and they just kind of stuck that on there. Like creator-owned books were part of a Legend thing. It didn't really go anywhere. So I'm kind of getting that vibe with Black Ball Comics here. Kind of blows my mind how they get all this promotion and articles and everything like that, and it doesn't seem to have really gone anywhere. I wonder where it came and went. All right, what is this? Comic book conventions across the country. All right, I don't think I'd been to Heroes Con yet. 94. I'm probably getting around the time where I'm going to go to my first one. So you want to be in comics. So let's assume that you sent in the story proposal and managed to overcome all odds, including editorial and bureaucratic apathy, to sell it to a publisher. So this is coming into writing for comics can be a dicey proposition. So all articles sitting there, kind of playing on the dreams of people who would love to have been in comics, since everybody can come out with a comic at the time. A sample of Joe Duffy's script for Nest Robber #2 and the final product from artist Maya Sakamoto. So script to page. So yeah, what we got here? 15 months from now, image of tomorrow. 15 months from now, this image at the time. 15 months from now, if we had a number 2 of something come out, 15 months from now, we would have number 3. 15 months from now, Skywatch is in ruin. Oh, I remember this ad. I actually remember seeing this ad in something else. Skywatch is in ruins, wretched from the heavens by a force beyond belief. Stormwatch is desperate, a haunted band of heroes running for their lives. Spartan, their leader, is on the verge of losing his second team. Spartan of the Wildcats, mind you. A madman is moments from ruling Earth, and Battalion, the only one who can fix things, has been dead for a year. But you don't have to wait long. Presenting the future of comics, Stormwatch number 25. We Oh, that's great. Shipping 15 months early from Wildstorm Productions and Images. So apparently, a story Stormwatch in 1995, available May of 1994. Steven Siegel, Scott Clark, Trevor Scott. So basically, they jumped ahead a year, 15 months, 15 months, a little over a year. Okay, I kind of remember some of that, right? And then we have a day in the life of DC. It seems like I remember seeing an article, a day in the life of Wizard or something. So, if you want to know what it's like at DC and to be the editors, they broke it down in time, what goes on in one day. Just not for kids anymore. Some things you probably shouldn't know, some things you don't want to know. So, yeah, they really put it in there. And looks like this. We have I'm curious now. We have a life-size Animal Man, looks like poster with a DC staffer there going at it with them. That's cool. So we can get in there a little bit more. Shiny glossy pages. Hero number 13, we talk about X. It feels like that's the only survivor of when Dark Horse tried to go full on heroes there for a little bit. The Revolution Comics, Hardware 16, Shadow Cabinet number 1, Zombie number 1. I remember Cobalt number 1 and Zombie number 1 coming out because I believe they had John Byrne covers. Milestone Comics. I recently pulled out a few of the Milestone comics I have. Hardware number 1. I feel like they hold up. Mort Drucker, the man at Mad Magazine, a man that I feel J. Scott Campbell was highly influenced by, right? How to win friends and influence culture, right? So this is fantastic that we have an interview with Mort Drucker. Mort Drucker is the man at Mad Magazine who would draw the parodies of movies. And that man could draw any celebrity effortlessly is what it looked like, and he would draw them consistently over and over. There we go. You can recognize absolute everyone in there. Oh, that's fantastic. So great. I'm glad Mort Drucker was able to not have to go into what me worry. Oh, this is great. All aboard for the Monster Druck rally. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be reading this. Mort Drucker. Okay, travel through time. Is there a price on your head? She's got a gun on your back. Barbed wire. She's tough and twisted. So maybe this is the beginning of the world's greatest comics through Dark Horse. Remember that event? They all, they went for it. They created their own thing. A lot of these books did not survive. I did not read a lot of them. X had it on it. Barbed Wire made it to a movie with Pamela Anderson. What do we have here? Hello. I'm pretty sure I have a complete collection of Hiller illustrated scans somewhere. I suppose I could create a CBR single file collecting all the interviews. That'd be cool. I wonder if anybody has the negatives or prints of all these cosplay photos taken at cons in the 90s. Real cosplay that wasn't just following trends and trolling for modeling jobs. That's what I'm trying to say. There was a sincerity with cons. I've said that for years on this channel. That I remember that you did not see as many cosplayers as you did in the day. And luckily I have pictures of a few from Heroes Con. And it took a lot of nerve to do that. That's kind of that's kind of the only thing I wish I could convey to modern day cosplayers. And of course, it's good they don't have to. I think it's a positive and a negative that they are more comfortable nowadays, but there was a time where it took a lot of nerve to walk around like that, to be a grown person, to walk around like that. I cosplay as Riddler quite a bit, and Riff Raff, and Meatloaf from Freddie, Frankie, whatever his name is, Meatloaf from Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm sure I cosplay as one or two other things, and even the fact that I was just wearing a lime green suit with a lot of, I can pull up pictures. They're probably on Facebook. I had the costume forever, but even in an outfit where it was basically a suit and it nothing too out there, you know what I mean, with wings or anything like that. You still had a little bit of a self conscious feel until you started taking pictures with people. So yeah, the cosplayer thing, I would love to see somebody say, here's what it was like, and here's how far we've come. What do we got here? Image prepares to meet the martyr. Okay. Oh, I don't even know what this is. What is this? I don't remember this at all. It was about 3 years ago that a handful of Marvel's hottest artists, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Jim Valentino, Mark Silvestri, Eric Larson, and Will Sportatio, announced plans to wean themselves off of the corporate work for hire TEAT, TEAT, so the correct spelling there, and formed their own company to be called Image. These creators were fed up with the restrictions that had been imposed on them and by them. Much was made of Eric Larson's statement that the creators involved had been holding back previously, which had kept them from maximizing both their storytelling ability and earning potential. It was an important blow for creators' rights. They were openly wished for others to follow their lead. They openly wished for others to follow their lead. At the same time, creators whose work the Image guys had enjoyed were invited back for the ride. La la la. After the shock wore off, the worms began eating at the apple. This wouldn't have been too bad, except many were worms of Image's own making. So they were already seeing holes in the company, if you will. Um, and this is probably gets into the late books and all those stigmas that you hear, from the 90s with comics, if I would imagine. Oh man, they really get into this. Okay. Knocking them off their access. What is this? Another company coming up? Oh yeah, this is the second wave of Image coming back. There's Mike Grell with one of his books. God, what was that called? Beasties. I would guess there's a lot of books in here that never really made it, whatever Access was. Yeah. We'll move on. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. Power Company, Night Venger. Like I said, a lot of obscure books that either didn't make it or never really came out. What do we got here? If you didn't know, Spawn was a 280 hitter. Many people are surprised when they learn Todd McFarlane's mysterious Spawn character is based off Todd's real life college roommate, Al Simmons. I have a Spawn #1 signed by Mr. Al Simmons. So McFarlane also was famous for buying a baseball. I can almost remember the names, for beating the home run record. And then the thing was, after he a couple mil getting that baseball, a year later, someone broke the record again. Oh, hero #11, Images of Shadowhawk, which was actually a cool series. They had a whole bunch of one of comics' hottest characters in the card set of 1994, a trading card set of Shadowhawk. From pencils to inks. Now, this is what I think was really cool about both Wizard and Hero Illustrated. And I probably said this before, but they had comic book artists come in and give lessons on how to draw different themes, every month is something a little bit different, right? The articles that Wizard did, they ended up collecting those, and you can actually, and they publish them in a magazine form, I believe, and they go for big bucks on eBay. I didn't even know this had come out, or I would have been proactive to get them. More Shadow Hawk. We get facts created by Jim Valentino. We have his real name. We have his first appearance, which was Youngblood #2, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. This is how you got your trivia. You would actually kind of see it over and over. We get a timeline, pivotal moments in his series. Yeah, little profiles there. Martial law, one of my favorites, right here, guys. Right? Let's see what we have here. Fact file, martial law. His name is Joe Gilmore. First appearance was Martial Law #1 at Epic Comics. Got it. He's 6'2", eyes of blue, 240 pounds, black hair. He was from San Futuro, Bay Area. He's a hero hunter, yet he never finds any. Lynn Evans, deceased, was his significant other. Yeah, okay, so this is after Hollywood Babylon AD, something. Okay, anyway. Lynn Evans, deceased. She actually did end up coming back because of all the preservatives in our food, and also because of a secret goo from the fort that the government had. Group affiliation, the Secret Tribunal. Yeah. His likes in life are killing superheroes, even though he never met any. Until the end. He did meet one hero at the end. Dislikes superheroes. He hates superheroes and something McBlam. Dr. Shock gave superpowers to people in order to win the war in the zone. After the war, the heroes got out of hand. They needed a hero to catch heroes. Joe Gilmore, ex-Screaming Eagle, was the only one who wanted the job. As martial law, he doled out justice in earthquake-ravaged San Francisco. He feels no pain. He hunts heroes. He hasn't found any yet. Yeah, so yeah, that's cool. And we got great moments. So this is cookie cutter made for me, guys. I'll just say that. Yeah, this was definitely made. Yeah, Captain Hero. Oh man, guys, we have Jughead as Captain Hero with a profile. We get to see his best moments, first appearances, and the such. Life with Archie, number 50. United 3+1. Oh, this is cool. This is very cool. Megaton Man. We got some, what was that, Dave Simmons? Yeah, we'll just kind of skip through this. I guess we're having previews of books that are about to come out or something. Who knows? Oh, here we go. We have a pull-out poster of this fantastic cover. That's very cool. If I get another copy of this issue for $1.99, if I get back to the antique shop, I found the other Hero Illustrated. I'll probably end up pulling that out. We have, Mr. Monster. Interview with Mr. Monster as Mr. Monster, apparently. Advertisement for Pit. Number 4 has come out. Probably took a year or so for that to come out. And then here we go, Hero cover art. This is where we have artists come in. And the first prize winner was this gentleman. Yeah, postcard art over here. Everybody did a version of Hero Illustrated, a cover for Hero Illustrated. It's what they were doing with their favorite hero. Second prize, third prize, a lot of runner-ups. Reader Special Assignment Prime. Looks like the next contest was to draw Prime. Apparently they gave out themes. And then we have Hollywood Heroes, TV and movies that were occurring, coming. Here's the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. It was around this time they were probably making it. So this is great. NBC, ABC, everybody was mining comic book properties back then, and a lot of them did not see fruition for quite a bit. Of course, we have Crow with Brandon Lee. 1994 to me was the year of the Crow. We had Sheryl Crow, Counting Crows, and Brandon Lee's Crow. All right, Tales from the Crypt, all sorts of things. And then we get into anime action. So we get to see anime, manga, news. Yeah, Caveman Rider, Meta Rider, Power Rangers, all kind of big in the early 90s there. You had Matthew Sweet doing a video of Girlfriend where everybody was like, what anime did he use in his video for Girlfriend? And it was Cobra, Super Cobra. It's on, I finally got to watch it on Amazon, the Amazon app. Action figures, all sorts of action figures were going on. McFarlane Toys was coming up. Toy Biz was hitting it with Marvel. Everybody was kind of collecting cards a little bit. I have my trading cards up in my closet there. Movie cards, mostly from when I was a kid and stuff, and Tim Burton cards from his movies in the 2000s. Lady Death. I mean, did Beavis and Butthead not just become the culture? Let's face it, you know. Hero Price Guide, books that were hot. A book of the month was Danger Unlimited #1. See, that's why you got to watch your spec, guys. Okay, all right. Captain America, an issue that no one remembers. And then the Children's Crusade. I have, I think I'm only missing one book of this event through Vertigo, which was kind of sort of a crossover with all the kids in it. So yeah, you had all this stuff talking about speculation, market watch and stuff. It was a waste of time, guys. And then we get the price guide. These were cool. I had a lot of fun with these when Wizard and Hero Illustrated. Kind of gave you the idea. Random covers would pop up. Sometimes they would give you trivia on the books later on, mostly Wizard. These were fun to watch. I loved going through there, and I loved when I found a page or two where I'm like, I had every issue like this one. They would use the pictures of. That was kind of cool. Before Twitter, if you haven't been following, there's a guy on Twitter that I follow who will post 4 comics per tweet on the anniversary of the day they came out. If it's November 9th, he'd be like, November 9th, 1975, four books. Anyway, Teen Titans, Metallica comic, which I completely forgot about. I wonder if that's cool. Nightman. So yeah, these price guides, I always kind of say flip through them because you'll see, it'll be cool to see how much things were worth and how much you could have bought these things cheaply for. I'll never forget seeing that I could have bought like a Fantastic Four #1 for something like, I don't know, $700 in 1980. All right, what do we have here? Hey, John, what's up? We're about through this book. Let me take this opportunity to say that if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so you'll be alerted when a video or a live show comes out, like today, where I have the day off. The winter months have hit. It is 26 degrees outside. Thus, while we're getting an extra show. Yeah. Okay. And John is always the perfect example of this, So She-Hulk, Spider-Man, yeah. So anyway, let's get to the price guide. Like I said, these are fun. What do we have here? Look at this. Oh, guys, okay. Heroes Convention Charlotte, Heroes Con, 1994. So this was probably the 12th one, right? And look at that. Right off the bat, Jeff Smith. I met Jeff Smith twice at Heroes Con. I have a ton of his stuff signed. Special guests: Greg Adams, Mike Allred, Al Bigley, Randy Bowen, Roger Brown, Kurt Busiek, Paris Collins, who I've met, Dave Dorman, Steve Epting, Craig Kilmore, Dick Giordano, who I met, Butch Geist, daggone, Jackson Geist. That would have been awesome to meet him. I bet I went a year after this. Tony Harris, who I met many times there. Casey Joe Jusko. Oh man. Joe Linsner, Scott Liddell, Jimmy Palomati, man. I think he's a regular there. Alex Ross was there. Joe Quesada, John Romita Sr., John Romita Jr., Jeff Smith, Brian Stillfreeze, Charles Vess. I think he was there last year. I met him many times. There's I have several pictures of us meeting. He lives less than an hour away from me. I've gone to the theater in Abingdon, Virginia, about an hour from where I live, a little bit over an hour, and it was nothing to be walking into the theater Sunday during the day at a matinee, and he's walking out. Okay, so this was cool, man. Oh, man, I wonder how long. Yeah, I'm going to tickets. Now, check this out. $10 per day to get in. 3-day pass was $20. Guys, I haven't gone to Heroes Con the last 2 years because of the pricing, on top of price for parking, how much the tickets are, how food is around there. And here it is, $10 per day, $20 for the weekend. That's fantastic. And I guess as far as inflation goes, what they're doing now probably is right in line with what he had to do. Street Fighter 2 news, all sorts of things. Yes. The characters of Street Fighter 2. This is fantastic. A little mini comic with all the characters. Well, some of the characters' names coming into comics. Look at that. Takuma Comics. Anybody remember that company? And here's a preview of what's coming next month. And the final word with Jim Shooter. Now, commentary by Jim Shooter. I have a few with commentary by James Robinson. And so this, Jim Shooter's recently left us. This is the stuff that I would read to get a little bit of comic book history also. And this is the stuff that I wish I could cite. There's been times I went back and forth with someone, and luckily, someone would probably message me like later on after they watch the video to say, hey, it was in this issue. So I'm like George Costanza with like, I have a comeback. The Jerk Store is out of you. And I'm doing everything, I would come off of George Costanza if I popped up a week or two later to say, hey, I didn't want to do that. If you watch Seinfeld, that's hilarious with what I just said. And here's some showcase pocket frames for your cards and a frame for your comics is $7.99. That is still that was expensive back then. It's to me it is. And what is this? His humanity is at stake. Blade, the Vampire Hunter, #1 issue featuring the return of Dracula. Oh man. Yep. Foil stamped cover, guys. It's going to be a foil stamped cover. That was an advertising gimmick, right? So there you guys go. We have traveled back into May of 1994. Bagged this issue. I released air that had been trapped in there from 1994. Okay. Beautiful issue. I just hate that somewhere along the line over the years it had something on top of it or got dropped. I'll probably get another one of these for $1.99. Why not? So I can take out a few things in this one and stuff, right? Have a reader's copy, right? So, guys, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for popping in. If you're watching the future, definitely leave a comment. Let me know if you have any memories of Hero Illustrated yourself. Paolo on here. You won't be able to see the comments in the future, but he's pretty sure he has a collection of Hero Illustrated scans somewhere. This stuff needs to be preserved, so it'd be kind of cool if those could be archived somewhere. That would be very cool. But anyway, I enjoyed this. I've got a couple more issues. I'll probably be doing this. And make sure you hit the bell, guys, because like I said at the beginning, for people who weren't here that are popped up now, I've been having this urge to do some low-hanging fruit for some reason. I feel like just getting my short box and my trays and a few things and just kind of looking at some Swamp Thing. Bernie Wrightston, Lynn Wynn, Bisette, Totalbin, and whatever else I have in there, Alan Moore, of course, things like that. But yeah, I've been itching to pull out the box, the Swamp Thing box, and just kind of going through it a little bit. If you like that, leave a comment. Let me know. Down in after this loads, there should be a link to my Instagram. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram if you want. I may play around with that a little bit more. So anyway, you guys have a great day. And if you're in the States and you got the day off, that's fantastic. Thanks for everybody that's popped in, and be excellent to each other. Later.